Hey, this is Ebube Olivia Akueme, and I'm coming to you live from Kent in the UK. How are you today? I hope you're well and you're good and you're having an absolutely fantastic Wednesday. Oh, yeah, it's another Wednesday. And today I want to be talking about how to overcome challenges. So, challenges would be challenges in your health or challenges in your finances, relationships, your spirituality, or your work or career. There is always some level of challenge in any one area of life at any given time. You know, it could be something that you are actually going through right now, or maybe you've just kind of finished or you're just about to go into, whatever it might be. But the reality is that from time to time, there would always be something that would be challenging, especially when you're striving forward, you're making progress, you're trying to, get to that place of optimal health or the best, you can do within your finances or in your relationships, or when it comes to your spirituality or even your work or your career. There would be challenges, all kinds of challenges that will come your way. And so today is all about, looking at this word called challenge. But then how do you overcome these challenges? Well, it all depends, because like I said, challenges comes in different shapes and sizes and colors and all whatnot. But did you know that it is very, very key to overcome your challenges, and the challenges is what makes life interesting. However, overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. So it's finding the balance between the challenge and overcoming of the challenge and forging ahead, basically. So there are 3 points that I want to cover today. There are 3 things that I want to talk about when it comes to challenges, and I know that these 3 things would help you. So if you haven't gotten my book yet, this is Be Better, and in this book there are different sections that I've written on the 5 areas of life, and this has to do with facing challenges, which I think is probably the last chapter, if I'm correct. Yes. So I have taken some some ideas from my book, and this is what I want to share today. If you haven't gotten the book, there are 2 ways you can get it. You can either message me and I would send you one, or you can order it online from Amazon. The choice is yours. You're spoiled for choice on as to those 2 options as to how you can get the book. So let's look at challenges. First of all, what exactly right now is challenging you, or what have you found to be challenging in your life as it is today? Have you ever sat down to really think through your challenges? Like what exactly is really causing you to feel that heat, feel that pressure, that sort of thing? It's a challenge. What exactly is it, and what solutions have you kind of thought about? And if you've thought about those solutions, have you actually put them into action? If you have, is it yielding the results? If it's not, what next are you going to do to overcome your challenges? And that's the conversation that we want to have today. So the premise of this is to remember again that challenges are, the challenges is what makes life interesting, but overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Of course, because when you overcome your challenges, one is a learning point, so you're able to use that in future learning. But secondly, again, as well, you can help others. So when you have people around you that are going through very, very similar challenges as well, like the one you're going through or the one you have overcome, it's easier for you to, rather, you find it easy to help them because you've been through it before. So if you're just coming in, tuning in today, I'm talking about facing challenges, whether it's challenges in your health, your career, that's your work, your spirituality, your relationships, or I said health, finances, spirituality, your relationships, or your work or career. So in any one of those areas, hi Dayo, I hope you're well and you're good. Thanks for tuning in today. So in any one of those areas, you will come to a point where you would find some level of, when we talk about challenges, we're talking about difficulty. And then the question is, okay, how do you overcome them? So number 1 point is to remember that the first thing you need to adapt in your mindset, because when we talk about challenges, is also thinking about how do you look at those challenges? How do you perceive them? And it's very important to adapt a better when I say better, better from what you currently have, a better perspective. So the one better perspective that you can actually adapt is actually the practice of patience. Whenever you're going through anything difficult in life, patience is a key thing to have to see you through those moments, see you through those times of, difficulty. You cannot sometimes always rush through a problem and get to the solution. Many people want to, again, because the kind of mentality we have these days, we call it the microwave kind of, result is what a lot of people look like. They have a problem today, they want the solution tomorrow. They have a problem today, it's always instant. Everything is instant, instant gratification, instant everything. It's the era in which we live in. But we also have to understand that aside, in reality, there will be problems that will take, I don't know, longer. Some of them will take maybe a week or a month or a year or maybe longer. It doesn't matter. The reality is that it's not all problems that can be solved and resolved immediately. Some can, but some can't. And that's why it's important to, first of all, adapt this mindset, this thing about practicing patience, having patience, and understanding that patience indeed is a virtue, not just because people say it, as an adage, but it's actually a virtue. It's something that one has to have. It's important to cultivate that mindset of waiting. Not waiting and doing nothing, waiting and looking for solutions, applying solutions, but understanding that sometimes in trying to persevere, or rather in trying to overcome your challenge or your challenges, you might have to persevere. And whilst you're persevering, the key ingredient of perseverance is actually patience. So patience cannot be overemphasized. It's something that you have to practice and practice, and like a muscle, it gets better. You have to wait for it. Don't give up, don't lose hope, but stay with it, have that stickability, stay with it, and just keep on looking for the right solutions towards this particular issue, problem, or challenge. That's the first thing. The second thing to understand as well is, again, another kind of mindset. A lot of people, when they are faced with problems, say for instance, it's maybe a career problem or financial problem or whatever kind of challenge they have. Problems are challenges, challenges are kind of problems, sometimes. And one thing that people do sometimes is that they start to complain. It's always about complaining. They're always very, negative in a way, so they complain. They complain, but remember, when you complain, when you have a challenge before you and you're constantly complaining, you seem to give your power away. What do I mean by giving your power away? You see, what is the point of complaining really, when you're not applying any kind of solution to that particular problem or challenge? It's just a way of venting, because you can express yourself emotionally, and it's not coming from a place of self-control. It's coming from a place of just wanting to express how upset and disappointed you are. It's okay to do it once, but when you're constantly, on a regular basis, always complaining, always, going off about that thing is not working and that thing is not working, the more you focus on complaining, that's more of what you get. And as long as you're constantly, because our brains can only do one thing at a time. Some of us think that we're very good at multitasking, but that's another conversation for another day. Single tasking would obviously pay you better. But again, like I said, that's a conversation for another day. Now, when you're constantly focused on that thing is not working, and that's, your complaint going on and on, you're training yourself, you're training your brain to constantly be focusing on it is not working. So therefore, you're constantly complaining about the same thing. And oftentimes, the question that should be asked and will be asked is, okay, it's not working, but what are you doing about it? So this is my own approach to this tip number 2. Stop complaining and start being grateful and positive. You see, the moment you go, okay, this problem or challenge is like this, but I'm kind of grateful for this and this within, the challenge. What that means is that you're beginning to look at things on a different, from a different perspective, which is from the perspective of what is working and what can work, as opposed to what is not working and what doesn't work. Because What is not working is not working. But what can work can actually lead you to the goals, the results, the outcomes that you're looking for. So stop complaining. Stop indulging in complaining all the time, but start being grateful and start being positive. And positive simply means that you're looking at things from a place of possibility. What within this challenge, what exactly is working? Within this challenge, what can I salvage? What can happen? What can I do within this particular challenge, and focus on that. And then my third point, and this is very crucial, is that it's very paramount that you need to be open to new ideas and solutions. Obviously, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, as Albert Einstein said, it's a form of madness. If you're constantly, you're trying to sort out a problem, and that problem, or challenge is not, it's not getting easier, it's not getting better, and you're constantly still applying the same old solution towards that particular problem, that now, my dear friend, is a definition of madness. So when you're repeating the same thing over and over again and getting still the same result, it is time, obviously, to do something very different. So don't get stuck in the same patterns. Don't get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again. Have the courage to try new ideas, try new solutions, and do not be afraid to take in risks. So sometimes some people stay in the same old place, the same old, and they keep on complaining and not doing anything about it because they are simply afraid to do something new, because anything new that they do will come with a slightly different level of risk. So I hope this makes a lot of sense, my dear friends, that there are 3 things that can help you to overcome your challenges. The first one is to practice patience. Learn how to be patient in the midst of your challenge. Be trying the solutions, keep on trying your solutions, not giving up, but having that stickability. Practice patience. It's a practice. So you're not always going to get it right, but constantly be practicing. And then the second thing is to stop complaining and start being grateful and positive, and start looking at things from a positive point of view. And number 3 is learning how to be open to new ideas and solutions. Let me end my Facebook Live tonight by saying one thing, that challenges are there and they are meant to be overcome. You're not meant to be staring at challenges in the face and them staring at you in the face. That is what makes you stronger. Remember what I said, challenges are what make life interesting. Overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. So you will succeed if you persevere, and you will find joy and happiness in overcoming your obstacles, your challenges, those things that you found difficult, but you're overcoming them basically by not giving up and doing all those things that I've mentioned before. Once again, I got that from my book, Be Better. So if and only if you don't have a copy and you want a copy, do let me know. Send me a private message. And also you can get it on Amazon. It's there. You can order it, or one from me, and I can put a little note in there for you, basically. Until next Wednesday, my friends, stay well, be well, and remember, challenges is what makes you stronger, better, bigger, and brighter. Until next time, my friends, ciao.